Hey up, my ducks, and welcome to the Poetry News. I'm Martin Gray from Nottingham, UK, where A up means hello and duck means friend / they probably think you're all right. Arsene Squigs, Eddie, how goes it? You good?
Hi.
How's it going, my ducks?
All
good. Good. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Looking forward to another great show. Fantastic. So, coming up this week, we have a lot of fantastic stuff. We have Joelle Taylor, we have an Indigenous writing circle, and we have a poetry question that most of us have never thought to ask. First, though, we go to a country that we've not directly featured before. We should probably make a TPM map or something. Comment below if you'd like to see that, and I promise I'll get to the point now. We go to a country that we've not directly featured before, Nigeria. Specifically, the Vweta Chadwick Poetry Prize 2022 by the Lagos and Abuja-based Project Asha. Apologies for any pronunciation here. The prize is open to female-identifying Nigerian poets who are aged between 16 and 25 to enter poems on the theme of invisible disability, and is designed to, and I quote, highlight the role of women in the poetry space, with a focus to encourage female poets like Vweta, who like Vweta found diverse ways of amplifying their voices for social causes, for fun and creativity, and many other reasons dear to them. There are two categories: senior high school girls and tertiary institution females. Entries are open until the 30th of March and submissions are free. And there will be 6 winning poems, each receiving a share of 500,000 naira, which is about $1,000 US. And if you're interested in this, to find out more, head to projectasha.org. So I'd like to ask Arsene, Eddie, and Squigs, what do you think about competitions like this? Obviously, it's very much open to quite a specific selection of people. Not every competition has to be open to everyone. Just really interested in your thoughts.
And I love that it's just a very specific group of people or members of society, because, I mean, just look at this panel here. We're 3 men and 1 woman. So it is a male-dominated world. We cannot deny that. It's not news. But then again, it's perfect that there are places, there are platforms. Okay, it's perfect that there are platforms that are highlighting women, especially young women, like high school seniors, and that is amazing. I think it's a great opportunity for all these young women to share their work and to get recognized and to make some money at such a young age. That's amazing. I like competition, but yeah, it's great. Thank you for sharing that, Mine.
I was gonna say yes, Nigeria, for empowering its young queens. In the end of the day, I'm a girl's girl. So to see that there are platforms that are highlighting the power of the young lady and seeing what are the generations after me, obviously, damn, I sound really old, but really the generations after me are going to bring the legacies they're bringing. I'm all for this. I love this.
I think it's a great idea, as Eddie was saying, to have platforms open and specific, and it'd be great to have many more of that. I actually live with an invisible disability myself, and it's a struggle that everyone, when you get through your treatments and stuff, they call it the new norm, but you never really consider to speak about it. And I love that there's opportunities like this open for more voices.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Anything that can be done to empower people who perhaps haven't been empowered previously, or to open a conversation about this really important subject, is fantastic. So thank you very much. I'd say just very quickly before we move on, we don't want just our articles to be the poetry news. We also would love to hear things that you have going on, things that you've seen in the comments below. We do our best researching, but we can't possibly find everything. So we don't just want the news to be in the video. We also want the news and articles to be in the comments below. So thank you. If you're interested in submitting to that or know someone who is, head over to projectasha.org, and we'll be back right after this.
Hi, I'm the one that chose Harry Potter, Eddie, and I'm joining you from Batun, the north of Lebanon. Today, I'm bringing you a workshop titled LGBTQIA plus Poets Workshop with Joel Taylor, organized by Red Room Poetry, and it will take place on Wednesday, the 16th of March at 7:30 a.m. GMT. In this session, you will unpack the research and writing methods that the host used to write her poetry collection, C plus NTO, and othered poems. You will explore poetic narrative, the praise poem, and LGBT hidden histories, and develop your own response to queer space and the self. It aims to disrupt genres to tell authentic stories of queer communities. Make sure to check the link down in the description below, and I would like to bring back my fellow heralds to ask them about their opinions of this workshop. Since we're talking about empowerment today, a lot of communities are being empowered in our video today. Yeah.
Definitely. By the way, I'm the one who chose Hermione. Just letting you know. But yeah, no, I'm really about I love all of these. So far it has been awesome. You know, these are people who don't get enough voice that are finally getting voice and a platform to make other people aware. So like this is beautiful. Like I know I am an ally, but I don't know everything about everything, especially historically. I don't know everything. So to take a workshop like this would really help me become a better ally. So I personally appreciate this very much.
I think it's a wonderful workshop, and Ravenclaw forever. The idea, though, of introducing praise poetry, and in the past, it's been something that would bring to light heroes, and to have this in a modern setting, especially in this context, to discover and celebrate the new heroes of future generations. Yes, and wonderful again to have another platform that allows the expression of different voices.
I completely agree. I've had the pleasure of seeing Joelle perform a live set in a theatre a few years ago, and it was pretty magical, to be honest. The way Joelle writes, the way Joelle brings these things out is just absolutely phenomenal. And you know, exactly as you say, Arsene, about the importance of being an ally, but of course not being able to know everything about everything. These workshops are a great opportunity for people who do know and do understand to tell their story and empower people, and perhaps empower others that maybe perhaps some people don't feel they deserve to tell their story, which is wrong. Some people don't know how to tell the story, and they can learn how to. But it's also an opportunity for people like myself to listen and to learn and to grow and think, well, oh, I never thought of that question, or I never considered that. And it doesn't make you a bad person for being well-intentioned but not considering something. It makes you a good person for wanting to go and wanting to learn and wanting to grow. So in every way, this works fantastically. And Joelle is absolutely brilliant.
Great words. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, everyone, actually. We will be back right after this with Arsene.
Hello again and welcome. It is I, Arsene, back at you again with a very, very, very cool little circle, an indigenous creative writing circle. And yes, my babies, it is free 99. So we are in Canada for this one. And actually we are online, but you know, it's Canada based. This is held on the last Tuesday of every month, 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with the facilitator Hope Engel. The circle will meet monthly and provide a space for local Indigenous community members of Guelph and Kitchener, Waterloo, and the surrounding area to explore intersectional identity and voice it. It introduces community members to Indigenous writers like poets, philosophers, novelists, sci-fi, fantasy authors, such as Fire Jean Graveline, Circleworks, Christos, Kim Anderson, Vine Deloria Jr., Paula Gunn Allen, Thomas King, Calvin Marceau, Daniel Heath Justice, just to name a few. And activities explore identity and developing creativity by looking at race, gender, class, ability, who we are for ourselves and others in relation to creation. So much like the theme of today's PGN, this is all about giving a voice to the voiceless. And there's also the cool part of medicine wheel journaling and collaging, tapping into your roots with creative vision stories, multiple relational identities, opportunities to share stories and writings with each other, of course, and supporting each other in the conversation. So it's really, really cool little thing here that really lets you tap into your roots, which are, especially as an indigenous person, which are usually not so much, there's not so many platforms that allow you to do it, I think, but I'd love to hear from the heralds as far as what they think in terms of giving indigenous people a voice. And you can also check out the link for the Eventbrite and sign up to tap in with this platform. What do you guys think about this?
Another wonderful, I think it's great. Another wonderful platform for specific voices to be expressed. I know in certain indigenous cultures, especially here in Canada, where a lot of their history and a lot of their story, it's very oral. Their culture is very oral. Not much of it is, as we know, written down. So to encourage a new generation of storytellers in their own tongue. Thank you for this platform. It's wonderful.
Well, isn't this how a lot of stories and a lot of cultures were passed down for thousands of years before we had the ability to write stuff down anyway? And it's such a wonderful thing that these traditions are maintained. And also, you know, I mean, we are really on theme this week, but it's such an important theme because everybody is a mix of who they are. Everybody is from a place which has a heritage and a history and everything that goes with that. And everyone has that right to tell their story and share their story. And through poetry, that can be told in such wonderful ways. And it's just anyone who's interested in learning, interested in developing, just opening your ears and listening, again, being exposed. Maybe you'll be told things that will make you think of something you've not considered before. Maybe, again, you'll be told questions that you might think, oh, I've never thought about that. You know, again, this is just, I wonder how many of these communities there are around the world. There must be thousands of them. I don't know how many poetry newses it would take to get through all of them. It just fills my heart that there are so many of these communities out there.
Yeah, and these communities are extremely important. And finally, that we are at an age that the people who didn't have a voice now have a voice. There's this community, like it's community. It creates community within the community. And in a way, it brings back this fire or this sense of home, and the sense of warmth, the sense of warmth within this community. And it's very beautiful. Like you guys said, it is, or poetry, all of that started with indigenous communities, pre-colonial communities. This is how things started. And here we are doing that. It is necessary to acknowledge where all of this oral history and where all of this oral poetry is coming from. It is brilliant. Thank you, really, Arsene, for bringing this up. And I hope our viewers could benefit and look for these communities in their respective areas.
Thank you guys so much for your input on that. And I completely agree with all of you. You know, it's really cool that something like this still exists, that traditions can be passed down and, you know, narratives, historic stories, and traditions can continue to go on like this. Like I said, this is facilitated by Hope Engel, who is Turtle Clan, mixed ancestry, Oklahoma, Choctaw, Chickasaw, Cherokee, and Two-Spirit and multiple disabled. So that's an interesting little thing about the host. It should be a really, really great thing. She's a co-founder of Plume Writers and Artist Circle. I could just go on and on. Anyway, I want you guys to go ahead and tap in and learn something today. Go ahead and email Hope at hopemagic7@gmail.com to get the Zoom. And I hope to see you there at the last Tuesday of the month, every month. All right. We will be right back with Squigs. Thank you so much.
Good day, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I am once again still Squigs, and yes, I do share a wardrobe with Eddie. This week, I would like to bring up a topic to talk about. It's like Martin said, it's a question maybe nobody ever asked. But does poetry make one more attractive? Can poetry make an ugly person less so ugly? Let's talk about ugliness in poetry. In fact, I found a wonderful poem from poets.org. The author, the writer being Leila Chadi. Leila Chadi is a Tunisian American poet. She was a recipient of the 2017-2018 Ron Wallace Poetry Fellowship at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Also author of three books such as Ebb, Tunisia Amerikia, 2018, and Deluge, 2020. And I will be reciting their poem, Ode to Ugly Things, by Leila Chadwick. Ode to Ugly Things. God bless ugliness. There is beauty in every ugly thing. I don't mean those eyes and teeth drifted apart like untethered boats, because they are beautiful. I mean your sister, 3rd grade, her braces, each band, a yellow figure 8, her favorite color, and trapped between the interstice of her front incisors, a gleaming broccoli bud. I mean the beetle, crushed, its husk cracked like a walnut, broken shell, sleek as obsidian, just cooled. I mean fluff of mold on 2-week-old pita bread, soft green bloom on the dark back shelf. I mean sore of the eye tooth, slam of the door. I mean blood, however it comes, always bright and shining. The ambulance still screaming its wail. Life, life, life! All its lights spinning. The cars plunge over the rail of the bridge, glint of sparks from metal wrenched, sleeve of water opening for whatever enters it. Your husband fucking another woman across town, the room paid in cash. Even there is beauty. See how they rise and fall. See how in their faces, for a moment, is something like joy. Poetry, unarguably, can be beautiful. Does it make us beautiful? Does poetry make the writer beautiful? I'd like to bring back my heralds to open up the discussion. What are your opinions about poetry, ugliness, beauty?
Wow. Well, it's a question I'd not considered. It's a question I don't particularly like, but at the same time, my brain's firing off with quite a lot to say about it at the same time. So clearly some part of my brain likes the question. So I think, first of all, just the whole notion of attractive is such an incredibly subjective thing. I mean, you know, there are people I find attractive. There are artists, poets I find attractive. There are people I don't find attractive. If I don't find them attractive, it doesn't mean they're unattractive. It just means I'm not personally attracted to them. But then, can you imagine if every single person in the world had exactly the same sort of beauty standard? If they had exactly the same sort of person that they were attracted to, you'd have this very small number of people fighting people off in every direction and everyone else just getting annoyed by it. You know, one of the most beautiful things about attractiveness is how subjective it is. And so personally, to sort of try and answer the question, I love the line, there is beauty in every ugly thing. And that is very, very true, because again, ugly is just as subjective as attractive. But also, me personally, I think people are at their most attractive when they're being the most themselves, generally speaking. And so if somebody has a poetic soul and they're being a poet and they're absolutely rocking being a poet, that's absolutely brilliant. And, you know, if like, you know, I am very much attracted to the sort of artist type thing, not going to lie. But, you know, if to somebody else that's a city banker, for example, then not my type, not my thing, but fair play to them. If they're being authentic and true to themselves, there's going to be people that find them attractive. I'm not sure how much that's actually answered the question, but that's my take on it.
You know, Martin, I like the that you quoted that line and the idea that there's beauty in every, or I'm butchering the line, but there's beauty in every ugly thing, or along these lines, because I think I have rewired my brain into not looking at, or not saying that there's anything ugly actually. I have never, or recently maybe, I don't look at people and think this person is not attractive or this person is not ugly, is ugly or anything. I always try to find beauty in people, in things, in places, in everything. I know this is not me being virtuous, but I find beauty in everyone, and I never look at anyone as this person is ugly. However, attractiveness, for me to be attracted to a person, I don't know if poetry plays a role in that, because I look at some poets and I'm not attracted to them, or I look at some others and I am attracted to them, which begs the other question: if someone I find attractive and that person writes poetry, would that make me enjoy their poetry more or not? Would I support this? Is there some part of my brain that confuses my attraction to the person rather than to the poetry, or rather than to the work of that person? Which is something I like. I always wonder, or I always just think about it. Like, if I look at someone who is attractive and that person writes poetry, am I attracted to that person, or to the poetry, or to that person more specifically? Also, personal experience. I have had people who do say to me, like, if I'm meeting someone online, or on a dating app, or in general, or at a bar or something, and I mention that I'm a poet, I always get the response that you're now like 10 times more attractive because you write poetry. So I don't know whether this plays a role or not in people finding me attractive, because let's say in the corporate world or anything, attractiveness does play a role in you getting a job or not, or attractiveness does play a role in you making it somewhere or not. So does that work also in poetry or not? Which is a great question that you've brought up today, Squigs.
So for me, it's like there's like a thin line between appeal and attractiveness, right? Like, because someone's face or something appeals to you, you're drawn to go find out more about them, right? And then you for me at least, I get attracted to them based on the substance that comes out. Like, someone can have a beautiful face, but then they're like saying really chauvinistic, racist things. Immediately, that person is ugly to me. You know what I mean? So, like, as poets, I think our attractiveness comes from the substance we bring in our works, and that's what draws people in. Like, personally, right, as a female, just being online as a female and putting up a selfie subjects me to objectification, just because I happen to be a female, right? I know, like, in terms of females, I'm not the most attractive female, and yet still, I have people going through my page, even though my page is literally Arsene the Poet, so you know my page is about poetry, and people just going in and following me and liking all of my selfies. That's cool for me because I'm getting following because people like my face, right? So, but to get them to stick around, they have to be liking my content too. So from that perspective, so for me, I think I just derailed, but I think a poet's attractiveness comes from their substance, and that's the question's kind of hard for me to answer because it depends on what your definition of what composites to you personally attractiveness. So like for me, it is definitely the substance. So if I hear someone speaking my language, speaking the thoughts that I have, agreeing with my beliefs in the world, they tend to be more attractive to me than someone who's saying like vulgar or whatever, right? So I don't know. It's kind of hard to answer, and I definitely did not answer the question at all. But that's my thought.
Oh, that's all right. That's wonderful for the contribution. It is kind of a broad question, and yeah, wouldn't it be great to live in a world where, you know, you go to a corporate job and on your resume is actually your poetry, and then you are determined, I guess, as an employee in that workspace based on, as Arsene, you say, your substance. It's I know personally, I've found people more attractive because of their writing, and also conversely, the other way around. You know, like you find somebody attractive, and then their poetry is like, well, that doesn't really speak to me. So I think it really affects. I was going to say, yeah, thank you. And yes, we'd love to hear from our viewers as well about their opinions on this. I just want to close with a statement. So long as there are poets in the world, perhaps nothing need ever be ugly. Thank you. That's my time. Thank you for joining us, everyone. We would love to hear from you about all our topics. And yes, pose new ideas, questions if you have in the chats and the comments. Subscribe if you have not yet already. Tell all your friends. We love doing this. We love to connect with other poets. We like to bring the world to other poets, to everybody. Everyone's a poet. I like to think so. At least I always work for myself. So yeah, I'm Squigs, and thank you again.
So thank you so much to everyone who's tuned in today. We hope that you found the links and the conversations interesting, and we would love to know what you think. Please drop us a comment on what you think about Indigenous writing circles, the poetry question, about attractiveness, the Vweta Chadwick Poetry Prize, and Joelle Taylor's LGBTQIA+ workshop. You know, we thrive on the comments. We read every single one of them, and it's one of the reasons that we love doing this show. And also, you can follow us loads of places, which you will find out about now.
Yes, definitely come and give us a follow, a like, a heart, all the things on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You can find us everywhere. Instagram and TikTok, we are at the PGN Official. And Facebook, we are at the Poetry Global Network. So definitely tap in with us. Leave us a comment. Leave us a post. Leave us a like. Leave us a heart. Subscribe down below. Definitely leave us a comment down below and let us know what you think about any of the subjects that we covered today. And just remember, it is March. So you know what that means, right? It is International Poetry Month. So happy Poetry Month to you. Thank you for tapping in with us. And what a great way to start off the month, right? We'll see you next week. Thanks for tapping in.
I need to lose weight. All right.